World War I reshaped the modern world in ways few conflicts ever have. Empires collapsed, borders were redrawn, and the scale of destruction introduced a new, terrifying era of industrialized warfare. For the United States, the war marked something just as profound: its emergence as a global military power. At the center of that transformation stood one man, General John J. Pershing. Pershing did not inherit a ready-made army, nor did he step into a war that suited American traditions. Instead, he was tasked with building, organizing, and leading a massive force almost from scratch and deploying it into the deadliest battlefield Europe had ever known. His leadership during World War I would define the U.S. Army for generations and permanently alter America's role on the world stage. From frontier soldier to rising officer, John Joseph Pershing was born in 1860 in Laclede, Missouri, a country still healing from the Civil War. He graduated from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point in 1886, entering an army that was small, scattered, and largely focused on internal security rather than foreign war. His early career reflected that reality. Pershing served in the American West during campaigns against Native American tribes, including operations involving the Chiricahua Apache. These assignments hardened him as an officer and introduced him to the realities of command under difficult conditions. Later, he took part in operations related to the Ghost Dance movement among the Sioux, though his unit did not participate in the Wounded Knee Massacre. Unlike many officers of his era, Pershing valued education. He taught military science at the University of Nebraska, where he also earned a law degree, and later returned to West Point as an instructor in tactics. These experiences sharpened his analytical thinking and helped shape his strict, disciplined approach to leadership, rapid promotion, and overseas experience. The Spanish-American War of 1898 gave Pershing his first real opportunity for advancement. He served in Cuba and quickly earned recognition for his organizational skills. Soon after, he was sent to the Philippines, where the United States was struggling to suppress resistance following its takeover of the islands. In the southern Philippines, Pershing led campaigns against Moro insurgents, gaining experience in counterinsurgency warfare and civil administration. His performance impressed President Theodore Roosevelt, who in 1906 promoted Pershing directly from captain to brigadier general, leapfrogging hundreds of senior officers. The decision was controversial but proved prophetic. Pershing's career continued to broaden. He served as a military observer during the Russo-Japanese War and later returned to the Philippines as governor of Moro Province. By the time he was sent to lead the punitive expedition against Mexican revolutionary Pancho Villa in 1916, Pershing had accumulated a rare blend of combat, administrative, and diplomatic experience. America enters World War I. When the United States declared war on Germany in April 1917, it faced an enormous challenge. The American army was small, poorly equipped for modern warfare, and untested against European powers. President Woodrow Wilson selected Pershing to command the American Expeditionary Force, placing immense responsibility on his shoulders. Pershing arrived in France in June 1917 and immediately recognized the scale of the task ahead. Unlike European armies, which had spent years locked in trench warfare, the United States had to recruit, train, transport, and supply an army numbering in the millions, while the war was already raging. Early Allied expectations for American involvement were modest. Britain and France initially assumed U.S. troops would be used mainly as replacements within their depleted units. Pershing rejected this idea outright. The fight for an independent American army. One of Pershing's defining decisions was his insistence that American troops fight as a unified, independent force, rather than being absorbed into European armies. This stance created tension with Allied leaders, who desperately needed manpower after years of catastrophic losses. Pershing believed amalgamation would weaken American morale, diminish national prestige, and prevent the United States from gaining valuable operational experience. He famously warned against pouring new wine into old bottles, arguing that fresh American troops should not be wasted patching exhausted formations. Despite intense pressure, Pershing stood firm. His position was risky. In early 1918, German forces launched massive offensives following Russia's withdrawal from the war. Allied lines buckled, and Paris itself was threatened. Under these circumstances, Pershing temporarily placed American units under French command to stabilize the front, but only as an emergency measure. Once the crisis passed, he resumed his push for an independent American army, building the American Expeditionary Force under fire. Creating the American Expeditionary Force was one of the most ambitious military undertakings in U.S. history. Under the leadership of John J. Pershing, the United States had to transform a relatively small, domestically focused army into a modern force capable of fighting a full-scale industrial war overseas. This meant transporting millions of soldiers across the Atlantic, while German submarines prowled the seas, constructing vast training camps in France, and building supply depots, rail systems, communication networks, and hospitals almost from nothing. The obstacles were enormous. Most American troops had never seen combat, artillery and heavy equipment were in short supply, and coordination with experienced but exhausted Allied armies was often tense. Pershing faced criticism for logistical delays, shortages, and what some saw as inflexible tactics. Even so, the speed of the transformation was remarkable. In little more than a year, the United States fielded a disciplined, organized force capable of launching and sustaining major offensive operations on the Western Front, something few observers in 1917 believed possible. St. Mihiel and the Meuse-Argonne. In September 1918, the American Expeditionary Force proved its growing maturity at the Battle of St. Mihiel. This was the first large-scale offensive planned and executed entirely by American forces. The operation succeeded in eliminating a German salient that had threatened Allied positions, demonstrating that U.S. troops could coordinate infantry, artillery, and air support effectively. Soon afterward, Pershing committed his army to the Meuse-Argonne Offensive, the largest and deadliest battle in American military history up to that time. The conditions were unforgiving: dense forests, rugged terrain, fortified German defenses, and inexperienced American units facing veteran enemy troops. Advances were slow, mistakes were costly, and casualties mounted. Yet the pressure never let up. Day by day, American and Allied forces pushed forward, breaking German lines and exhausting their ability to resist. By early November 1918, Germany's position had collapsed, leading directly to the armistice on November 11. Aftermath and legacy. Pershing returned to the United States as a national hero. In 1919, he was awarded the rank of General of the Armies, the highest possible military distinction, above even four-star generals. Though criticized for operational missteps, his overall achievement was undeniable. He had transformed the U.S. Army from a small frontier force into a modern, global military power. His emphasis on discipline, professionalism, and independence shaped American military doctrine throughout the 20th century. Pershing later served as Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army and deliberately avoided political office, remaining a soldier to the end. His memoirs, My Experiences in the World War, offered a measured account of leadership under extraordinary pressure. Why Pershing still matters. John J. Pershing's story is not just about World War I. It is about how institutions are built, how principles are tested under pressure, and how long-term vision can outweigh short-term convenience. His insistence on an independent American army helped define the United States as a sovereign military power rather than a junior partner on the world stage. In a war that destroyed empires and reshaped history, Pershing ensured that America emerged not just victorious, but transformed. John J. Pershing didn't just lead soldiers, he helped turn the United States into a global military power. His choices under pressure shaped World War I and redefined America's role in history. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more powerful stories like this, like and subscribe to the channel.